PMS, pregnancy, menopause. Being a woman is a lot. Ollie supports you and yours with expert solutions for every age and life stage. They just launched 2 new products exclusively at Walmart. Period Hero combats bloat, mood swings, and more during PMS. And Balance Perimeno to support hormonal balance, mood, and metabolism during perimenopause. Grab yours at ollie.com.
Ollie!
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
Joining us now is an author and Fox News contributor, Joe Concha. He is a friend and he is someone... let me start again. Welcome back to the Judge Jeanine Tunnel to Towers Foundation show. Today we have a great guest, a friend, Joe Concha, who is not only a Fox News contributor, but he is the author of a new book, which we will talk about. But Joe Concha is someone who is very knowledgeable and has a lot of information and opinions. And he has this new book out called The Greatest Comeback Ever. So, Joe, welcome to the Judge Jeanine Tunnel to Towers Foundation show. Tell me about your book.
Oh, well, yeah, the greatest comeback ever inside Trump's big, beautiful campaign, unburdened by what has been. You know, you have to have a long title these days, Judge, you know. I started writing it last year once I thought that Donald Trump was going to win this race. That's when Joe Biden was the opponent, and Trump seemed to just be on the right side of every issue, seemed to have the energy, the momentum. And then from June 27th, that debate where Biden's brain turned to applesauce and he was eventually forced to drop out. Then 2 weeks later, we had Donald Trump nearly assassinated in Butler, Pennsylvania. If he doesn't turn his head just the right way at the right time, we're probably not having this conversation. Then he's at the RNC 2 days after getting shot. He chooses J.D. Vance. 5 days after that, Biden drops out. 2 days after that, Kamala's then the Democratic nominee. So to say that this book wrote itself, that is not an exaggeration, Judge.
Well, I got to tell you, as you go through it, I can't help but think that all of us felt like we had whiplash. Every day there was something new happening. I mean, the coronation of Kamala Harris, who this past week apparently gave a speech. It was her coming out speech, and she talks about elephants, and apparently has a video up of elephants and how they have to protect each other. I got to tell you, I hope the woman runs for president in 2028. I really do. But I also know that having spent $3 billion in her campaign, having wasted it, I should say, and having paid off people like Oprah Winfrey and some of these other celebrities to come out and say something nice about her, I can't imagine that she would be in a position to get any support to run again. But what do you think is going to happen with her?
Well, if she were to run again, I think Democrats may lose 51 states, which is mathematically impossible, but she'll figure out a way. I mean, she's that bad, and we talk about it so much in the book. You're right, to go through billions of dollars in 100 days, by the way. It wasn't like a 2-year campaign. It was 100 days. And she had to pay Oprah Winfrey $1 million, for example,
right,
just to do an interview with her. You would think Oprah would be like, hey, I'm worth $1 billion. If we want to defeat Hitler, the guy that we're calling Hitler a fascist, maybe I'll do this one on the House. But no, pays him $1 billion. Incredible. And then she picks Tim Walz as a running mate, the goofy 80s sitcom dad from Minnesota, which was the worst decision I've ever seen in a presidential campaign. So what happens from here, Judge? I would imagine that she will run for president again. That the polls show that right now she has the most support, but I don't think she gets the nomination ultimately because she's that bad of a candidate. When she speaks outside of a teleprompter, she's a human Chernobyl. And about elephants, coconuts, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, the amazing thing is that you've got her and you've got now Tim Walz, who's out there trying to make a name for himself. And then Chuck Schumer, who's got who says he's going to have an all-nighter, a type of nonstop kind of a filibuster. And the guy can't go past midnight. So they don't have a leader. They don't have a message. They don't have a policy. I mean, it really is stunning. The Democrats should be better than this.
They used to be, right? I mean, JFK or even Bill Clinton, they were politically smart, street smart. But now we see that AOC appears to be the hot possible nominee in 2028, and she's doing the Fight the Oligarchy tour. Yet she's flying, talking about doing rallies, railing against billionaires while flying private. to these rallies. You can't make it up, and then Bernie Sanders. Yeah, go
but
ahead.
the amazing thing is, I mean, she's got it was like 60%. The Democrats like her. She's the highest rated at this point. So it'll be interesting to see. And you got to give Bernie Sanders credit. The man is still going. Chuck Schumer can't make it past midnight in his all-nighter. And then you've got Bernie Sanders still flying around the country 10 years older than Schumer, more than 10, maybe 15 years older than Schumer. It's crazy. But you've got a lot of the Democrat senators who are retiring and not running again, like Shaheen and Peters and a bunch of them. So I kind of think that maybe they see the handwriting on the wall.
They should, because at this point, Donald Trump is putting them on the wrong side of every 80-20 issue, right? I mean, hey, we want to bring back the guy who beat his wife, was an MS-13 gang member, engaged in human trafficking. They'll fly to El Salvador for that guy, but they won't fly to Gaza to try to get an American hostage home. I mean, they just step on every rake that's out there. Hey, we want men to play against women in sports. Like, no one wants this. And Donald Trump certainly put them there. And fortunately for the book judge, I was able to interview Donald Trump, exclusive interview for an extended period of time. And I really wanted to talk to him about the assassination attempt, the first one, because I know myself. If I was shot and I had blood on my face and I'm in an open field, basically, the last thing I'm doing is standing up and then yelling, fight, 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 and re-exposing myself to a possible second shooter. And I said, sir, what made you do that in that moment? And he said, I knew my family was watching. I knew my wife was watching. I knew my youngest son was watching. I knew the country was watching. I knew the world was watching. I want to make sure that they knew that I was okay and nothing was going to stop this movement. I'm like, wow. I wouldn't have done that. I would have said, get me the hell out of there.
Not just you,
that was great,
Joe Concha, not just you. I mean, I have friends in the military who've said to me, you know what? I was not a Trumper. This is what they tell me. I was not a Trumper. But when that guy got shot and then stood up and said, fight, 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 there isn't a tougher guy and someone who I have more respect regarding than Donald Trump. And now they're all Trumpers, okay? Because they've been in war, they've been in the battlefield, they've seen, a lot of people get shot or try or attempts at their lives. And the way Donald Trump responded to them was just unbelievable. He is an incredible individual. And, the first 100 days has been incredible as well. But I want to talk about, the Democrats right now. And I want to talk about the fact that, you've got Shapiro, who seems to be kind of a strong person, a strong leader. And then you've also got Andy Bashir. I mean, of those two, who do you think is a better candidate?
I look at Bashir, Judge, and I see a Democrat in a red state like Kentucky, and his approval's at 68% in a red state. And I say, boy, if that's transferable, if they make him the nominee, that could be a tough guy to beat. J.D. Vance, I think, would be his opponent on the Republican side. That's usually the way it works. The baton passed to the vice president. MAGA likes J.D. Vance. But, I think Bashir, if he's the nominee, but I don't know if the party wants somebody who is as vanilla as he is. I think in the end, like an AOC, if she runs, she's going to get all the media attention. She's going to dominate social media. She has no legislative achievements to her name, and it doesn't matter, it seems. So it's almost like they always check off the boxes. I want a woman. I want a woman of color. I want somebody who's young and energetic instead of somebody like a Bashir who is actually accomplishing things in Kentucky, and everybody likes him, including Republicans. So I think in the end, Democrats are going to step on that rake too and probably make AOC their nominee. And then, as I said, they'll probably lose 51 states like Kamala would.
Well, the interesting thing is, though, that AOC at least can put a sentence together. But, the Democrats are now trying to be the party of masculinity, which I think is kind of hysterical. And so you got people like Pete Buttigieg, who now has a beard, and they're trying to be tough guys. And, just like Waltz, I carried weapons of war on the battlefield when we found out that was a lie. And, call me coach. And when he was an assistant to a coach. I mean, it's all crazy stuff in the end. So, I'm just curious how they get over that.
Well, that's the thing. I think there's some advisor that they're all listening to that says, when you put a post on social media, make sure you swear a lot. Make sure you swear a lot when you're in interviews, because that's going to make you look tough and authentic, and it just seems so contrived and phony. So, yeah, Pete Buttigieg, beard, yeah, I just, I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing it, but I'm not liking it. Yeah, that's the thing. They're trying to all be Trump now, right? They're all trying to be strong leaders, but you just don't create that. That's something that you're born with, and it just comes naturally. So this is a party that has no leader at this point. That is certainly for sure. And they have no message. And I think ultimately that's what's going to do them in, because I don't know what exactly they stand for outside of the things we talked about before, which is endless wars, which is males playing against females in sports, which is higher taxes, and which is doing like a lot of like performance artistry, like we saw with Schumer when he couldn't get to midnight.
Yeah, I know. I just can't get over that.
I can't get to midnight, but hey, I'm not the Senate Minority Leader, but still. Maybe New Year's.
But you
barely.
could. Let me tell you something, Joe. I know you. You work very hard. You're the kind of individual who, if he had to, he would definitely do it. But, going forward, I mean, I think that unless and until they come up with a leader who's got a message, they're on the wrong side, as you say, of every 80-20 issue. And now the president is going after the sanctuary cities, and he's going after the ICE is going in, and they're prosecuting individuals who are actually like judges defending the illegals and trying to get them away from ICE. I mean, everything they're doing is anti-law enforcement. It's just backwards. How they cannot understand that blows my mind.
Yeah, and I'm sure, given your prior career, you see that and you just scratch your head, right?
Yeah, well, especially this judge. I mean, come over here. She sends ICE to another area and says to the illegal, come over here. And it's a domestic violence case, and there are victims in the courtroom with the prosecution. What I want to know is, how many cases has she thrown? How many cases has she taken the side of the accused against the victims? It is absolutely mind-boggling what these people are doing.
Yeah, the Alvin Bragg of Milwaukee, right? As far as just letting all these criminals go, it's incredible. And then that's the thing. Like, you see then the media coverage. Donald Trump's arresting judges now. Okay, is there more to that story besides just arresting it? Oh, that's right. Literally a guy who's here illegally, who beat two people to the point where they ended up in the hospital, including a woman. They're sitting in the courtroom. You know how hard it is? You know this, Judge, how hard it is for people of this sort of violence? They finally get justice. They come forward, and then they see a judge get this guy literally in front of them and get out of jail free card. It is utterly remarkable. But Donald Trump, you're right. His first 100 days, I keep hearing about how, what a failure it's been. I'm like, a failure? Wait a minute. Inflation's at 2.4%. Gas is around $3 a gallon. 99% we are down in terms of border crossings. I know the tariff thing is a little shaky, but I got to break some eggs to fix that kind of problem. Overall, I think it's been an incredible job by the president so far, and I'm glad I was able to talk to him about it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you were able to talk to him about it, and I'm glad that you were with us today with this book. I just have one last question. Who do you think is responsible for the Democrats' utter collapse?
Ultimately, I think it's Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Barack Obama. I think the minute that they basically instructed Joe Biden to drop out of the race so they can install another candidate, Soviet style, no votes from the public, and Kamala Harris, and then riding that horse to November 5th. But
Joe Concha, I'm going to interrupt you for a second here.
Sure.
I don't know that the public really gives a damn about that. I think that it really is more about the fact that, they couldn't come up with a candidate. The fact that they coronated Kamala Harris, the fact that, she never got a delegate or any of that stuff. I think that's kind of like people like you and me. We get crazy over that because we know that's not the way it's supposed to work. But if they had a decent candidate, it wouldn't have mattered.
No, it wouldn't have, because, again, they are allowing MSNBC, CNN, the media, and social media to dictate the way they do things. And it's instead of just having principles and saying, okay, this is right and this is wrong, they're doing whatever gets the most likes, retweets. Look at Jasmine Crockett as an example, right? This is a girl who mocked the Texas governor for being in a wheelchair because he's paralyzed.
Calls him Hot Wheels.
Yep. Yeah, Governor Hot Wheels. You know what happened after that? Instead of her being like shunned from all of cable news, like we can't interview this person, she's crazy and that's so wrong what she said, she's on everywhere now because She's provocative, therefore she gets maybe a little bit of a ratings bump, and that's what Democrats are allowing to dictate the way they go about their policy. Like, whatever gets us the most attention, that's got to be good, right? No, it's bad attention. That's not good. So I think that's what's ultimately killing this party. They're listening to MSNBC and CNN way too much and not listening to the public, not talking to people, and that's the problem.
I already love same-day delivery with Shipt, but it's so much better since I signed up for Target Circle 360. Why? Because I no longer pay price markups from the majority of stores through Shipt. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. That means no markups on groceries, pet food, even home goods and makeup. So to recap, I have more time to catch up on life while someone shops for me, and I spend less. It's a win-win. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code listen50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50. Code listen50. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, I think that I have a newfound respect, Joe Concha, for Senator Fetterman, John Fetterman. I got to tell you, I mean, at least he's normal. Some of them just seem so out of sync with all of us. I mean, it's just not normal stuff. Men and women's sports and, in women's locker rooms and, protecting illegals. And I often say, if you want to protect criminals in sanctuary cities, make them American criminals, How about equal process for them, equal protection and due process? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Fetterman. Look, he's been staunch in terms of his support of Israel. And then you look at somebody like AOC who didn't support the Iron Dome, which has probably saved like thousands of lives, if not more. So, Fetterman, at least he's sticking to his principles. And if Democrats put him up for president, he may do well. I think ultimately, like the whole shtick with like these shorts and the sweatshirt, I don't know. There's something that looks lazy about that. But yeah, you're right. Fetterman's the only common sense guy I can see on the other side right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, Joe Concha, it's great to have you on. The greatest comeback ever inside Trump's big, beautiful campaign. We thank you for being with us, and we look forward to hearing you again.
Judge, thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye. Up next here on the Judge Jeanine Tunnel to Towers Foundation show, I will gavel out with my closing argument. It's all coming up here on the Red Apple Audio Network.